Hello and welcome to another podcast or Supplier News podcast. Um, as always, thank you for joining us. Before you start the video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and after the video, leave a comment and tell us what you think and give us your thoughts on the topic at hand or anything else you want to talk about that's pertaining to the video or SoundCloud. On today's episode, we are going to cover, I think, the biggest news that's come out in the past couple of days, which is the Black Panther trailer. We're going to give our thoughts on that, the upcoming movie, which comes out, and I'm pretty sure we could have all guessed it, next year in February, for obvious reasons.
February 18th.
Yep. I thought it was 6th. Well, whatever, in February. And
It's the 18th.
yep. And then we're also going to discuss our thoughts on the Wonder Woman uh,
Yeah.
movie, as well as other upcoming Marvel, DC, and even just period superhero movies that are coming up, and give our thoughts on where this is going to take diversity, or not even just where this is going to take diversity in terms of opportunities for actors, actresses, both on front and behind the screen as well. So, with that
Okay.
being said, let's go ahead and let's start this off. So, Black Panther trailer. What's your thoughts on it, Ray? Just initial thoughts, and then we're going to go into the breakdown of the trailer.
It was definitely exciting to see. It was kind of like when I saw the Spider-Man trailer, I didn't have that much excitement as much as I saw the Black Panther trailer. I mean, the cultural, the aspects they put in the trailer. I mean, the African cultural aspects they put in the trailer were just breathtaking. The
Yeah,
the the fact that the man ape, the individual when he's holding the guy by his arm, just
I mean by
the
his
the
neck.
the photography, and
His
just
head.
the way it looks is exciting. It doesn't look like it's going to be humorous like a Guardians of the Galaxy or Iron Man. It seems to be just that badass superhero.
I think.
Excuse
I
my
think.
language. It's that bad
No, no,
that
no.
that bad superhero.
I think to talk about that. Let's. So I think the reason why we've seen Spider-Man on screen before, right? We've seen him many times on
Right.
screen. So when you see a Spider-Man movie, it's we've been to New York. We've seen the "I'm a superhero from New York" piece. In fact, we've even seen "I'm a superhero from outer space." We have yet to
Yeah.
see "I'm a superhero" or superheroine from Africa. Think about it. I mean, we've seen more movies about superheroes in outer space and basically everywhere else outside of Africa. So if you think about it, this is the first time that we're seeing superhero action take place on a continent or on the African continent. So I think that's huge. And I think that's why there's so much excitement because we're in unfamiliar territory. And that's going to be very interesting to see how they cover that.
I can agree with that. The fact, like you said, it's unfamiliar territory. It hasn't been tapped, and the fact that Black Panther, he's kind of an unknown superhero. You don't hear that much about him,
Right.
and if you do, you when you do hear about him, you just know his name, Black Panther. You don't know his origin story, who he is, what he represents, why the fact that he's considered the third smartest man in the Marvel universe. Like you don't know any of these things, so that that alone brings excitement. It's like wow, like I mean he's here. We have an understanding of who he is and what he's what I mean what's his origin? What is he about? Like I can even say that when possibly when the Captain Marvel trailer comes out, I think there will be a big excitement for that as well too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possibly.
I agree with that. I think Marvel has done an excellent job of covering characters that are previously unknowns. Like for example,
Yeah.
we don't think about this right now, but people didn't really know that much about Thor or Captain America when they first hit. But Marvel Comics
Yeah,
was able to
that's
create
true.
this this excitement around them, so that you knew that when they dropped, you wanted to see the movie. I mean, Ant Man's another example. Guardians of the Galaxy, my God, a talking raccoon,
Definitely Guardians of the
and,
Galaxy.
and they made that work. So I have full trust in Marvel's ability to make characters who are unfamiliar to a broader audience become intriguing and having audience members who may not know anything about the characters become their biggest fans, and that's a testament to Marvel versus, no offense, but to a DC, which that has been their weak point, being able to create a franchise around unfamiliar characters. But they're gonna have their shot when it comes up, and we'll get into this a little bit later on. But when they're undertaking superheroes such as like an Aquaman or a Cyborg or a Flash. Well, Flash we're kind of familiar with now because of the TV series, but they're gonna have their opportunity. So
I think
we'll
a
see how they can.
cyborg. I think cyborg is a better example of that because
Well, we're
the
not.
fact of
Well,
it is,
what do you really know about Aquaman?
I just know that he's Aquaman.
Yeah, yeah,
He's a
exactly.
top five. He's a top five. I mean, well, you hear about him in the animation stories or the Justice League. Like you hear about Aquaman, but you don't. When you talk about a cyborg, take for example the Teen Titans series. He's goofy. That's all you know about him. So that's why I said I
Well,
think there's a little bit more
I think
intrigue to see how they
I think people
go
know
ahead.
just as much as about as a. I think people know just as much about Aquaman as they do about Cyborg. Maybe a little
You
bit
think
more.
so?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the reason why I asked this. Well, not asked. The reason why I say this is because I remember when they were shooting Justice League in Detroit,
Uh,
and
I
they're
shot that this in Detroit.
yeah, and they were making, well, parts of it, either Justice League
Okay.
or Batman v Superman. But anyway, they were making fun of it on the radio. They were making fun of Aquaman because they were like, all he can do is talk to all he can do is talk to fish or whatever,
Oh, the
and
fish.
yeah,
Right.
and that's pretty much it. And Zack Snyder, I think, whoever
Mm-hmm.
the director is, he
The
called up.
Batman director.
Yeah, he called up and he was like, he had to explain to them what Aquaman can do, and lay out the fact that he's almost as strong as Superman. He's the king of a nation. Um,
Mhm.
he's like, he had to like break it down because nobody knows, and I think just because you've seen him and you've heard the name doesn't, in multiple places, especially in the DC universe, doesn't mean that you know anything about him. And I think
Okay,
that's,
I'll give you that. I'll
yeah.
give you that.
And if
Yeah,
anything,
touche.
if anything, that's hurting Aquaman because you know him, but you think he's a little bit, you think he's weak. Versus Cyborg, it's almost better not to know anything about him than to know him and think that he's weak. Um, but let's fall back a little bit because we want to really start off with the Black Panther trailer. I know before we get into it, you wanted to talk about uh, how we should be viewing Black Panther or how we should not be viewing Black Panther moving forward.
Yeah, the fact of it is, I don't think we. Yes, it is a black superhero. One of the biggest black superheroes coming to the cinematic Marvel Cinematic Universe. Cool, but I don't think we should just say, okay, this is going to be a great black superhero movie. No, this is going to be a great, just all around superhero movie that you usually don't hear about. So I think we need to stray away from the fact that yes, I understand he's black. That's obvious. His skin color, but the fact of it is, give it its just due. Because Black Panther, like I say, he doesn't get talked about. Let's give it its just due and just go past the fact of race. And it's a cool ass superhero. Simple as that.
I mean,
Excuse the language.
I
But
think
this is a cool superhero.
no, I agree with that. I think how do I say this? That's what I want people to leave with. I want people to view a Black Panther movie and then leave and be like, "Yo, this is a dope superhero." But I do think it's okay for us, because we're both black. I think it's okay for us as black people to, when the first trailer dropped, get a little excited and say, "Hey, man, this is a black superhero. The movie's supposed to be 90% black. Finally, we for the first time in our lives, like this is something we've actually seen, and it's like, wow, this is empowering, and it's really really nice
Well, I'll
to
give you
finally get
that.
that first
I'll
trailer,
give you that.
And I think this is, if we're gonna like wild out and say, man, I'm so excited about this. He's black, great for us. This is the time to do it. It's kind of like when Wonder Woman first hit, and you had a bunch of women like, yes, we're here, we made it. And then as we continue to promote, as we get closer and closer, then I have no problem. I 100% agree with you, and we do the whole, this is another superhero. He's dope. Just happens to be black. But day one, Screw that. Black. Black power. Nah.
Right,
But
right. Because like when you made that comment, Jamie, I think about it. Like my son, he's a superhero that looks like him, and he can familiarize himself with it.
oh yeah.
So I think that right there alone, that alone is very encouraging. But like I mean, well, we should appreciate the fact that he's a black superhero, but I think we can't just label it as a black superhero movie because if
No,
we
no, no, you
do,
can't. No, it won't.
then the popularity and the success of the movie will be
I get what you're
tarnished
saying. I get what you're
or
saying.
will suffer from
No,
that.
I think Marvel's trying to make as much money off of this movie as possible. They're going to ensure that this is, and you know what? That's actually a great segue to the trailer breakdown on how is Marvel going to ensure that this isn't a black film by black people for exclusively black people.
Black people,
Yep.
okay.
So let's get into the trailer here. And this is actually I got this from the Verge .com and their breakdown. And
Hmm.
they show you've seen the trailer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the one thing we're not going to show the trailer here, and the reason being is because I want everybody to head over to Marvel Entertainment, their YouTube channel, and watch the trailer there because I want them to get as many clicks as possible, so that we can ensure that this is a success. So we're gonna have the link in the description. Go ahead and click on it, and check it out. But and again, this is from TheVerge.com. The first thing that comes on the trailer for a
Hmm.
movie that's 90% black is two white guys. Did you notice that?
Ah,
I didn't notice that either.
yeah, you all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
and
all right.
100% by design. They talk about it's Ulysses S.
By
Claw.
design, you think that?
What?
You said by design, huh?
Yes, they did that
Oh,
on
I wonder
purpose.
what was the point of it.
Well, they said because when you're introducing, a film that's 90% black, you gotta give the white perspective, right? If you're the white guy, why should I care about this? So that's why you have Ulysses S. Claw and Evan Ross, played by Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman from uh, Jesus, Bilbo Baggins, and you got Ulysses S. Claw, who is obviously from the Ape movie. Ah, jeez, help me out. The
The
Ape,
Ape movie,
yeah, Planet of the
King
Apes,
Kong.
Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay,
He's Caesar.
okay, okay.
Yep. So anyway, and it's just them talking about what is Wakanda, and they're explaining to the audience this is Wakanda. They're an African nation, and Evan Ross says, and even Ulysses Claw says, Wakanda, and then Ross is like, we're dealing with Africa. It's just a bunch of black people in the jungle doing whatever, and then as what many white people would probably say about Africa, it's just in the jungle, whatever. They're not that smart. They don't have any technology. And then you have the other white guy who breaks down what Wakanda is and why it's so exceptional, and then they start showing you the greatness of Wakanda. So they take you through the eyes of two white people what makes Wakanda so great. And that kind of slowly drifts everybody into accepting, like, oh, okay, if this, and you probably don't think about it, but I'm pretty sure they've done studies on this to ensure that this works. So when the white guy says it's special, this is why everybody's like, okay, it kind of simulates you into the okay, accepting that this is great. This is a great place.
That's very intriguing
Yeah.
that they would do that because, like you said, like when you look at a Red Cross commercial, what do you think of when you see talking about Africa? You see starving children, and you see lions and just jungle. You don't see a civilized culture. So I mean that's kind of intriguing. But go ahead, Jamie.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I didn't even notice that when it first started out, but that's why they start off like that, and they slowly they slowly kind of simulate you into the Black Panther trailer, which is a bunch of other black people. Because, and I'm pretty sure that if it started off just black people, black people, black people might have been turned off. But the fact that it starts off like
I
that,
agree with you on that.
it,
I agree.
yep. So, that was very interesting. Then, as they're talking through, when we're talking about the voiceovers, it starts off with, Ulysses as Claw. Andy Serkis kind of narrating what Wakanda is, and then it switches over to uh, the Black Panther, T'Challa, his his father, King T'Chaka, who died in Civil War, and he's the person who says, what does he say? Something about you're a great man, but being a great man, it's hard to be king. So it really it
Right.
transitions over to that very smoothly, which is excellent. Now, as we're beginning, continue to talk about the trailer, it also just shows the technology involved. Chadwick Boseman, who plays T'Challa, aka Black Panther, who I just found out yesterday he's 40 years old, which is crazy. Um,
He's 40?
yes, I know, right? Yes, that Black Panther is 40 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought he was late
And
20s.
the reason I say that is because you look at Robert Downey Jr.
Well, he's like 60.
There, I mean, well, I'm saying the main character universe are older. Like they're not 30s and 20s. They're much older than expected.
Well, I mean,
But they relate to
yeah, I don't know if
things.
Tony Stark is 60, but he's older in the comic books.
Okay.
Black Panther's about 40,
Okay.
like early 40s, late 30s in the comic books. They're older. They're no spring chickens. No offense, but yeah, so let's talk about next over they show the waterfall from Black Panther. He's got the tats on his back, and then he takes the ship to wherever. I'm guessing that's his crowning. And then they start showing more characters, in particular the bad guys. So obviously they show Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. He looks like a badass. He's just yeah,
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
he looks like
Pretty cool.
he looks like he's about to destroy some people. They've got Man-Ape in there. So what I in viewing the trailer, essentially what Wakanda is, it's made up of a lot of different tribes. And again, with the death of the king, you're gonna have certain tribes that think that this is the perfect opportunity to overtake Wakanda, which makes sense. There's also another part where there's a couple of parts, right? So the one thing that I haven't seen a lot of people talking about is I noticed that. So you got Angela Bassett, who plays uh, Black Panther's mother.
Cancel the Bassett in this one?
Yeah,
Too?
yeah, she's the lady with the white hair.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize her.
Yep. So she plays.
Didn't recognize her. Okay.
Yep. So she plays Black Panther's mother. And what I noticed was that in the trailer, if you stop and you really break it down, she's been captured by, I believe it's Man-Ape. So it's her,
Okay.
two other females. So I think it's her probably her attendants, and then it's actually Evan Ross, so Martin Freeman. So they're like
Okay.
yep. So they're being forced to follow. I'm pretty sure it's Man-Ape into like his wherever he's at, to his village, and then at some
Mhm.
point they get encircled. So it's the four of them. So that's going to be very interesting. Also, what I've been reading is that Evan Ross, like this is his first time in Wakanda, so he's going to be kind of like the audience, right? So we're going to kind of see it from his eyes, which again, having the white guy seeing Wakanda from the white guy's eyes, I think is a really good way to acclimate the audience into an African nation, because obviously he's going to think it's just a jungle or whatever, and then they're just going to show him, have to walk him through what Wakanda really is. So I think that's a really good piece that they're going to add there. Um, so you got that part, and then more Black Panther trailer breakdown. We've got the warrior women. So there's three main warrior women who we need to talk about in the trailer. Uh, I'm gonna completely mess up these
Oh,
names.
you want to get the actual name?
Yeah, I'm gonna completely mess up these names, but bear with me. It's the first one is no, let's not talk about her. The first one is Okio. That's played by the girl from The Walking Dead, Michelle, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? The black lady with the dreads from Walking Dead who can just kill
No.
everybody. You don't
Yeah,
watch?
yeah, 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 I do.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah,
yep. So she's in
yeah.
Black Panther, but she has her hair cut off. She's the chick. She's the woman who, remember when Claw's like, "I see you," when he's looking at the glass, and then it's a woman, a bald woman, and then it's,
Yeah,
yep, that's her.
yeah.
That's
She's with
with
she's with
Black Panther.
the Black Panther.
Yep,
She's
that's
with him in the
her.
room.
That's the lady from Walking Dead. So
Okay.
she's the leader of the I don't know how to pronounce it, but like the all female African, like uh not assassins, but a royal guard.
Body.
Yeah, the royal guard. She's the
Yeah.
leader of them. Uh Next up you have Ao, who is, she's kind of like the hothead of the uh the female royal guard. She was in Civil War. Remember when Black Widow
Okay.
was like, "I want to talk to you," and she was like, "Move or I'll
Yeah.
make you." Yep. So that's she's the hothead,
Yeah.
clearly. um, I think she might also be the strongest one. I'm not exactly sure on that one. And then lastly, we've got, like 12 Years a Slave, Nakia, who's played by Lupita. She's the one who in the comics, she falls madly in love with Black Panther to the point of she's like obsessed with him. Now in the comic books, which is going to
Wow.
be, it's going to be a little bit different. Actually, I don't know, but so in the comic books, Black Panther, he ends up falling in love for this like American singer, black chick, and then Nakia gets like really jealous and tries to kill her. So she like becomes a bad guy in the comics. So we'll see where that leads.
Okay.
But yep. So those are the three main warriors slash bodyguards in Black Panther. Then we've got some other people. We'll just briefly just touch upon them. We've got Forrest Whitaker, who he's going to be playing like the advisor or whatever. He was the advisor to Black Panther's dad, so he's going to continue that part. Kind of like the all wise, all knowing wise guy. Then you got Black Panther's sister, who, remember the woman with like the guns in her hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his sister.
Okay.
Yep. And then lastly, we've got at the very end, we've got a car chase scene where it blows up, and then Black Panther does like this really awesome flip, lands on another car, and then the trailer ends. What I'm also hearing is that Black Panther is going to have the largest car chase scene in the history of the Marvel universe. So it's supposed to be really, really big.
Neat.
Yep. So, and he's not just going to stay in Wakanda; he's going to be in other countries too, because they're going to try to open up Wakanda to different countries and the globe. So that's pretty much the Black Panther breakdown. I know we went through a lot there, but kind of a lot to say, and just familiarize people with who people are and what's going on. So yeah, so that's pretty much that. But any questions? Do you have any comments on that? I've been talking for a little while.
No, 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 no. I will want to segue to the fact that the need this shows a need for diverse writers and directors and producers. I saw Wonder Woman. I think it was Friday or Thursday. I saw Wonder Woman, and the fact that Wonder Woman was directed by a woman, I think, gave the movie a greater feel to it.
Yeah.
Because you had that woman's side of you. You like usually you had that submissive woman, but Wonder Woman, no, she wasn't going. Let's put it like that. She was not going. She was willing to speak her mind, and if you didn't like it, oh well. But she stood up for what she believed in, and usually you don't see that in the female characters. So I think the fact that when you have diverse producers, I think that gives, directors and writers, I think that gives the movie authentic feel.
Yeah, I mean, I completely
So I like
agree.
the fact that Black Panther, you have a diverse cast and writer and team. That movie what makes it okay. I know. Let me check this movie out because these guys don't usually get the credit or don't usually get this opportunity.
Yeah, no,
And that's what, like I said, that's what made Wonder Woman great.
I completely agree. Sometimes, and this is a great movie, but it's also true. Amistad, well, that was
Hmm.
produced by I think Steven Spielberg or directed by Steven Spielberg. I want to say. I'm almost, I'm like 90% sure it was. Sometimes when you're talking about a situation that involves a lot of black people, it becomes it it tends not to focus on that, but more like, for example, in Amistad, it focused around the legal aspect of slavery versus the actual contents of slavery, if you will. Produced because it was seen through the director's eyes. Was a white guy versus like 12 Years a Slave, which same general concept of slavery, but it's more so what the slaves were going through. And I think there's a lot to say upon that. Like when you have a diverse director, you have a better chance of really uh when it comes to the movie per se, you get a different viewpoint.
A different feel to it,
Yeah, a
yeah, and
different
a different
viewpoint.
feel.
And sometimes, and in my opinion, the viewpoint that you want in these superhero movies is you don't want the viewpoint of, for example, you said like, what was the guy Chris Pine character Steven something
Cool.
Wonder Woman Steven Chris Pine
I forgot his name. I know
Steven
you're talking about
yeah
Stevens and a love interest.
uh right yep. So if I'm not saying it could have, it would, that this is 100%, what would have happened, but sometimes when you have like a male director, sometimes what may have happened is it just may have been the Wonder Woman movie through the eyes of Steven, Chris Pine's character. Uh, but
True.
since we have that woman who is the director, she's going to ensure that no, this is Wonder Woman through the eyes of Wonder Woman, and this is what she's going
Yeah.
through. And I mean,
And Wonder, like the fact that she's not submissive, she's not this just pin up doll.
exactly.
She's she's a god.
Yeah, and
Lord Casey.
yeah, no, and just and let's be honest here. I mean, nobody who knows more about being a female than a female, right?
Exactly.
Like there's just no denying that. So I do think that, like you said, that's important as we're moving forward to tell the best stories because, and again, women know how it feels like to be a woman more so than men do. Men will ever understand that. So she can tell that story better in my opinion than your average male. Now let's move on a little bit more. Now we were started to discuss like Aquaman and Cyborg, but the future of diversity in in superhero movies, if you will. Now the on screen talent. I think we can all agree as we start diving more into African superheroes. Maybe we may even have like Asian superheroes, South American superheroes, what have you. As as we open expand on this, there's going to be a ton of different opportunities. But the one thing I do want to talk about is the behind the screen opportunities as well, because I remember I got an email where they were like uh, from the Black Panther movie where they were talking about how they needed 100 to 200 black people to be extras as scientists in Atlanta for one of the scenes in Black
Wow.
Panther. Yeah. So I think that also gives opportunities to minorities and females as well when we're doing movies like Wonder Woman to have an opportunity to be in movies that they may not otherwise have because instead of that being shot in Atlanta, if it was just a regular movie, it might have just been in your normal L.A., New York, city, if you will, and you may or may not have been able to have that opportunity. But now, as we know more black people live in like an Atlanta area. It's more opportunities for minorities to be in film and get that first look or first take into what it's like to create a film. So, do you have any thoughts? I've been talking for a while.
No, I mean that's it. I think you covered it all, Jamie. I mean, I'm very excited to see the movie and see. I mean, expect what is it going to be about, and what kind of justice will it get as much popularity or success as the Wonder Woman over the past weekend. So anxious to see what happens, and excited to see that this story is being told.
Yeah, so we've got Aquaman coming up, Cyborg, Carvel, Captain Marvel. There's another one that's coming up. We may even get a, depending upon how Black Panther does, we may even get a Black Panther 2. I know we're getting a Wonder Woman 2 and a Wonder Woman 3. So, because that's supposed to be a trilogy. So there's a lot of opportunity with this that if it's successful, it could be even bigger. Excuse me. Who knows? Maybe the success of a Black Panther movie may convince Marvel to say, "Hey, let's do a solo Falcon film." Who knows?
No, no,
But
no.
I mean, as Captain America.
I don't think. Okay. Oh, as Captain America. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But
That'd be cool. Or even once, because like we were talking about prior to our phone call conversation. Yesterday we talked about how after Marvel Infinity War, Captain America will take more of the lead role, and you will see Iron Man, Captain America, kind of their roles would somewhat die down.
I think you mean
So
Captain
maybe they'll.
Marvel would take more of a lead role. You said Captain America.
I'm sorry, Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Captain
yeah,
Marvel.
yeah.
Uh, but the fact that will Riri, could they possibly introduce Riri as Ironheart? And could they bring in, well, Spider-Man is just being introduced, so I doubt if they bring in Miles Morales. But
Nah, yeah, nah.
I mean, I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, no. I think this is Wonder Woman was a great first shot at a non-white male solo film. Can it work? Superhero solo film. And the answer is it can, and it can
Yes.
make you a ton of money.
Yes.
The first non-white male Black Panther is going to be that times 10, right? Because they're going, whereas Wonder Woman was led by females, it was probably, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it was probably like 50-50, right? 50% women,
Mm,
50% men.
at the beginning, it was more, yeah, definitely a majority more women, but
I'm talking about throughout the film.
toward no, eventually became her sidekicks, so to say. They were all men.
Yeah, exactly, but that's what I'm saying.
The women characters died out. Like they didn't talk about them anymore.
But my point is, because I have a point here, my point is it was throughout the entire film, it was about 50-50, right? I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah,
Or was it 60-40?
60-40.
60% women, 40% men, right?
Nah, well, no. Let's say I would go on to say maybe even 60% men and 40% women.
Okay, well that's even more so. Okay, so 60% men, 40% women. The reason, so what Black Panther's about to do is about to take this and times 10 because they're doing a
Yeah.
90% black people. Like this is 90% non-white. So
And
this,
also, I think it's kind of cool, Jamie, because of the fact that it is too. African Americans don't know that much about African culture either. So it opens up a whole new world to everyone. It's not just a white audience; it's the African American audience as well too.
yeah, absolutely.
We don't know that much about our African culture, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, the average black person doesn't know much about African culture.
Doesn't even know where they're from.
Yeah,
Me and you, we don't know. We can't identify where we're from. So that with the introduction of this culture, it's being introduced to everyone.
yeah, I can agree with that.
And that's another thing too. That's why you can't just say, okay, this is an African American movie. No, it's not, because we
Well,
don't know that much about that culture
I wouldn't
either.
I wouldn't say African American. For me, this is and
Black,
this is what I'm talking about. The percentage piece is it's supposed to be 90% black, right? That is a huge change from any other movie that has any other possible blockbuster I can think of.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is The Last Samurai, but the main character was a white guy, right? That might have been
Oh,
ninety
Tom
percent
Cruise.
Asian,
Yeah.
yeah, but the main character was a white guy. This one is 90% black, but the main character is black, and there's two side characters who are white, and but their main characters. I mean, we're gonna probably go through. There's going to be a solid 50%, 50 maybe 60% of the film where it's just black people. Can't like we're really gonna see if this can work, because if this can work, this changes everything. This I mean for this changes everything for everybody. If this makes half a billion, I mean not now the
Uh,
now the possibilities in terms of whatever you want to do. If now if you I can't think of any other superheroes or any other film, just any film in general, right? Uh,
mhm.
this really changes. So now when people say, "Oh, it won't work because it's all black people, or it's all Asian, or it's all minorities, or whatever," it's like, well, no, that's not true. If you put money behind something, it can work. Period.
Yeah, and you get the right. Get money because it's not only money. Because look at Waterworld. They put all the money behind Waterworld and it failed.
Yeah, yeah,
But the fact that you have the story, the cast, and the anticipation.
yeah. Like look at Straight Outta Compton, right? Majority black film. But if you get the right support behind it and you really are trying to make this film a success, it can work. Because in the past it's just it's all black film. It's not
You
gonna
know
work.
what? Look at the hashtag Black Panther so lit on Twitter.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The movie doesn't come out. The movie doesn't come out until next year in February. That hashtag has been trending more than once. So that anticipation for this movie is it's it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's really big. Like it's
yeah. They had an interview with
okay.
Stan
It's a
Lee.
must see.
Yeah, Stan Lee was like, "This is right as of right now. This is the most anticipated Marvel film."
And
More,
that's like I think it's going to work. I definitely think it's going to work, and I have faith it's going to work. And we'll see what happens after that. I mean, maybe there'll be a movie where the cast is I don't know 90% Asian or a 90% Asian cast. What I mean, not just a superhero cast, but just a big movie. Not just a low budget box office movie. Maybe there'll be a big movie, and the main character and the supporting characters are of a certain just one specific race, and showing that okay, these stories can be told and should be told.
yeah, absolutely. Like, and this isn't. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen it work before, but for some reason, like just Hollywood just they'll do one right. Like they'll do like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, 100% Asian, completely foreign film. You got to read subtitles throughout the entire movie, but yet it works. Becomes a box office
Right.
success, and then they don't support anything else, right? Any other type of movie like that, like, it just makes no
Remember
sense.
City of God?
Yeah, City of God is another one. I don't even think they
Mhm.
even pushed it like that, but that's another one that could have worked. But for whatever reason,
Or Apocalypse. Tom Cruise's Apocalypse.
that wasn't
Have you
Tom
seen that?
Cruise. You mean Apocalypto, Mel Gibson?
Yeah, Apocalypse. Mel Gibson. Mel
Yeah,
Gibson.
yeah.
Get my actors.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Yep, that's another one. So when you put money behind something, if it's a good story, it can work. But for
Yeah.
whatever reason, just Hollywood's on this. Those are exceptions, or no, those are good film. Those are good films, and so is this. Black Panther's lined up to be a good superhero film, and if it is, it deserves a sequel. And I think and you said it at the
Definitely.
beginning. This isn't a black at its crux. This isn't really a black film. This is a superhero film. This looks to be a good superhero film, and if it is, then that transcends race. Whether it's 90% black, 90% white, whatever, it's a good film. I think we need to continue along those lines. So if other directors come out and say, "Hey, we need to do this film," and oh, by the way, the cast, since it's set in Africa or South America, it's got to be 100% this race. Well, okay, fine,
Uh,
because it's a good film. So
Okay.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on Black Panther trailer and what that could lead to in the future. But please give us your thoughts. Make sure you like, subscribe. Again, tell us what you think, and thanks. And if you made it this far, 40 minutes in, thanks so much for listening. And as always, have a great day.
Yeah, have a good week. Everybody have a productive and successful week.